Hello, my name is TJ Long Jr., and this is just a teaching sample of a lesson I've given students on a couple occasions, whether it be at Forest Park Church or another event. I'm a pretty analytical guy. I am detail oriented. I love setting goals, crossing them off my list, completing tasks. I'm a very relational guy. I love to dream big and dream with as much audacity as I can. But one story in the Bible that really kind of resonates with me, and it has a common theme throughout the whole, not only just New Testament, but the whole Bible itself, is a story found in Mark 5. It is a story where Jesus looks beyond the face value of a person and sees what's really there and the potential that a person has. Who cares what the other people in the town or the religious leaders believe? He sees what's really there. This story that I'm talking about is healing of a man who has legion. He is possessed. And the greatest thing about this story, it's not always applicable, and I think even sometimes it's dangerous, is to say, who are you in this story? But in this case, I think it's good because it's not just one answer. If we look at the story in Mark chapter 5, the disciples are getting off the boat with Jesus right after he has calmed the storm in the Sea of Galilee. And right after that, they step onto this shore in the land of the Gerasenes, and this man, who the townspeople have tried to just chain and to calm him down, to quiet him. He's a crazy guy. He rips off his clothes. He is strong enough that he breaks chains. He has loose shackles on his wrists and ankles. And he is known to wail and cry at night and cut himself with stones. And imagine, right after the relief of what they feel from coming from the Sea of Galilee, to see this running at them. And he yells out to them. He says, "What are you doing here, Jesus, son of the Most High God? Don't torture me." And, I always think that he's got this voice. If you know the bad guy from the Inspector Gadget cartoons, he's like, "What are you doing, Jesus? I'll get you next time, Gadget." That kind of voice. I can imagine that that's the scary thing that the disciples are hearing. But all kidding aside, you're seeing a guy who's naked, who's bleeding, who has shackles on his wrists and ankles, who's got ripped clothes, and he probably doesn't sleep very well, so he's probably bloodshot eyes and probably very unkempt. And Jesus sees right through all of that mess and sees a potential. And the potential is realized much further in the story, but I'm getting ahead of myself just for a moment. But what happens is that the demon inside, Legion, which, it is commonly known, well, to historians, I should say, that a legion of Roman soldiers is approximately 2,000 in that battalion, 2,000 foot soldiers. And so Legion speaks of Jesus, says, send us into those pigs over there. Now, this is not a Jewish land. Jews don't want anything to do with pigs. This is a Gentile land, a Gentile farm. And so Jesus is like, I'm cool with that. Okay, that's my paraphrase. He says, sure, go ahead. So he casts out the demons into the pigs, and the pigs go nuts. If you know the story, the pigs actually run down a hill into the lake, and they drown. Now, the herdsmen, or the people who were kind of like catching all of this firsthand, they all run back to the nearest town and they share what they've seen. No doubt they've shared what they've seen occur with the man, but they've also shared what have occurred with their livestock or with their pigs. I don't know if you know this. I'm from the South, and my family has thrown a pig picking before. If you don't even know what a pig picking is, let me educate you on that for a second. We literally buy a pig, and we cook it for about 24 hours, and then literally we get a whole group of people together, and it is exactly as it sounds. The pig is kind of like just laid bare. It is cooked on the grill, and you pick at it. It's not a very high church thing. You come, paper plates and your cups and plastic silverware and paper towels and napkins, and you pick at this pig until you generally have a lot left over. But the reason why I bring this up is because I know the cost of a pig. It is not very cheap, and actually one pig will feed a lot of people. It'll tend to feed 30 or 40 people and have plenty of leftovers left. But the reason why I say that is that one pig can cost about $200. Now, 2,000 plus $200, or 2,000 times 200 pigs, is $400,000. That's in our currency. That's extrapolating a little bit from the culture that we're seeing in this story. But imagine if the cost is roughly the same, $400,000. And what happens is that the people from this town, they come out, they see Jesus, they see this man who's kind of calm. For once, he's not screaming. He's clothed. He's not fighting off anything. He's talking normal. And what do they say? They plead Jesus to leave. Why would they do that? Is any man worth $400,000? Is any man's sanity worth $400,000? That's the question. That's the question. So as I pose the question, who are you in this story? You know, before Jesus, we as humanity, as broken as we are, as we once were before we came to Christ, we are a compilation that is found in that man. Some of us hate ourselves. We don't like the way that we look. Some people cut themselves. Some people are depressed. Some people cry and wail uncontrollably. I mean, really, there are so many types of people that this man embodies. So, pre-Jesus, we are like this man. We don't want anything to do with Jesus because actually we think it'll be harder for us to live under his rule than to be where we are, even though we are just despicable and we hate our lives. But to be a Christian would be even worse than that. Now, however, we can be on the flip side. And this is where I tend to challenge students when I talk about this story, is that we do run the risk of being not like the disciples who are obviously scared, but like the townspeople who will automatically think, this guy has always been this way. He's never going to change. He isn't worth my time, my money, and for anything that it might cost me. Literally, I could think that some of the townspeople were saying, well, what's next? What is my crazy aunt worth? Is that worth all of our chickens? Is that worth all of our bread? What is Jesus going to take away from us to heal one person? No, thank you, Jesus. Just go ahead and leave. We could be like that, people. We could be like that. I have been like that. And truth be told, I've had people that have gravitated towards me earlier in my life, and I really just thought they were seeking attention. And I was rudely awakened to find that some of them, one in particular, took his own life. Because I thought he wasn't worth a phone call every other day for an hour. I was a townsfolk. I've had to live with that for the last decade. That's why this story inspires me so much. But you know what the great thing is? The man, he wanted to come with Jesus and the disciples after he was healed. He saw how the townsfolk didn't want him, and so he wanted to go where he was wanted. Obviously, God saw that he was valuable and used Christ to heal him. But Jesus says, no, I have a totally different plan for you. He takes this one person that is seemingly invaluable in a bad way, not valued at all. And he says, you know what? I'm going to send you to the Decapolis, which is a collection of 10 cities. And I want you to preach the gospel. Who knows how much gospel Jesus had actually taught him. But he knew this one thing for sure. He was valuable. God saved him. I mean, that is the gospel in a nutshell, is it not? We are all valuable. God saved us, not we ourselves. And Mark 5:20 and on, it actually talks about how this man come to not only preach to many, but reach many. And so God used this one man who was broken, who wanted to follow him, but God used him, even though people wanted nothing to do with him. But it was his story and his willingness to follow Christ after he knew just a sliver of the gospel. Now, a lot of us, we have a lot of Bible information. We still won't reach out to other people. But if you have those two valuable concepts, I am valuable, God saved me, you could be part of his mission to change the world. It's that simple. Thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to hear from you soon. Thanks so much.